I enjoyed the speech about the color paper. Well, particularly because there was a lady that was mentioned there, and she's 24. So I decided while I seated there, that I'm visiting Madam Barbara. I don't know when exactly, but I know I have calculated there will be security. But impervious to that, I am fortified to succeed, because that's what men do. About a year ago, I was seated in a class and we were learning. And whatever I'm going to say now is what the comment that my lecturer made. She said today, and I'm glad that she made that comment because she's a woman. She said today we suffer high level of crime, early marriages, crimes, rates going high. And this is all because of female-headed households. And I wondered why. I thought she would have tried to be a little bit biased, but she didn't. That is a statistical fact. So you can't get any bias than that. And when she made that comment, I started engaging myself into a conversation on the reason as to why would that be the case. Later that year, as though spoken to me by a spirit or a spiritual divinity, I developed an initiative called Govelo Conversations, turning males into men. The first time I taught it to my grandfather, he told me I didn't understand what I was talking about. Because men are any males that have beards. If you do have beards and you're a male, you're a man. Then I said, what about those they're advanced in age, but they don't necessarily have beards and they're males? Are they men or yet to be men? Because my elder brother is 30 years old and he doesn't have beards and I do. And I'm his young brother. Am I more manly than he is? And so, from that, I started reading and exploring on what could be the reason as to why when females head households, regardless of their level of education, things will not go right. And why that if men alone head households, still it doesn't solve the problem. What is really the problem? And I found out that men don't know how to communicate. And this is huge. This is a big problem. But the sad story is that they think that they do. And that's the reason why even here, there are few of them. Because the rest of them say, I know how this works. And so with the initiative that I have, I've developed an initiative, as I've already said, and we are working on putting up an institute called Govelo Conversations Institute. And this is to be in Siavonga under His Royal Highness Chief Simamba. And it's set to be completed in 2025. Now, if you ask me, what are some of the milestones that we have made already? Number one, we have already talked to His Royal Highness Chief Simamba, and we've convinced him that if men can be taught to communicate and realize that becoming a man has really little to do with age and more to do with responsibility, then we can transform society. And then you not really need to go to schools to start blaming the girls for getting pregnant. He said, oh, I like the idea. Young man, you have my blessing, you have the land. And so we were given the land. The other milestone is that we managed to get the best designer that we could get at that time to design the way the institute would look. Had we had the projector, I would have shown you the pictures. But impervious to that, we'll still continue. The third milestone that we had is that we managed to sign a memorandum of understanding with His Royal Highness. And he is very particular to say, when this project starts, let the men and the boys from my chiefdom have the first priority to be taught this splendidness of public speaking and communication, so that when they are hurt within their hearts, they will not use their fists or their dubiously perceived meaning of masculinity, but they will communicate that I'm hurt. And if they need to cry, let them cry. What are our deliverables? What we wish to achieve in this project is to at least train 500 males, as we call them in our initiative, because they are either born male or female. And becoming a man or a woman, it's something else. You can argue with me later outside. And we want to train at least 500 males every year. The second deliverable that we have is at least conduct 12 high-level conversations every year, one a month. And if you ask me why high-level conversations, I was mesmerized when one day I asked my uncle what really it meant to be a man. And he told me, I buy the food, I pay the rent, I get more money than my wife does, and I tell her what to do. Therefore, I'm a man. But when I asked my auntie what it meant to be a man, her definition was different. It says, anyone that can listen to a woman, understand that sometimes don't reply when I'm saying something, and someone who understands the act of humbleness, and someone who is knowledgeable enough to know that both men and women sit on the same level of dominion when it comes to the terms and conditions of dominating the world. That is a man. And my uncle was far from that definition, and I wondered why she married him. But that was not my decision to make. What are some of the resources that we have to achieve this? We have, of course, the time. We have the human resource. 5 guys who we are working with. And apart from that, we have money. Now, I'm using the word money very loosely here, because some of it, even to do some of the things that we've done, came from the people that were willing enough to support this cause. But still, it is our resources, or it is part of our resources. Now, here's what I believe. I believe that the matter that really matters is to raise men that know their identity, men that can communicate, because women were born with it, generally. They can communicate without any problem. But men, they have to learn it. And learning to communicate as a man, that is the matter that matters. My grandfather's name is Monga and my name is Oli. Toastmaster of the evening.